Hello there guys, welcome to another of my live videos, and today I'm just going to be officially updating you on some more current transfer rumours and gossip. So if you do consider drop your likes, and if you do consider subscribe to this channel as always. So lots to negotiate on this video today as usual. Going to keep you up to date with what's going on with Bruno Fernandes. Also going to give you a bit more additional information about Lukaku and Paulo Dybala and all that. So lots to negotiate on this current video today. But we'll currently start with Bruno Fernandes. Now, reportedly, Sporting Lisbon have denied speculation that Manchester United have made an opening offer for Bruno Fernandes because reports were emerging out yesterday saying that Manchester United had made an offer to Sporting Lisbon through Bruno Fernandes' agent. But according to Sporting Lisbon, they've denied speculation. They've basically classified these rumours as false. So what they're basically saying is Manchester United have not reached any agreement, with Bruno Fernandes. So they have poured cold water on the speculation. We do know recently that Bruno Fernandes has informed his Sporting Lisbon teammates that he's expected to leave Sporting Lisbon this summer. But we do know Di Marzio, who's a very reliable Italian journalist. Well, he's reliable majority of the time. He has got quite a few things wrong in the past, but he came out yesterday and said Manchester United are close to signing Bruno Fernandes, and he also said the same thing in regards to Harry Maguire did Di Marzio. So I do expect Manchester United to get these two signings completed this week. So it's looking very imminent that Harry Maguire is going to be coming in, and it's going to be looking very imminent that Bruno Fernandes, of course, is currently going to be coming in. But actually, I think Sporting Lisbon are orchestrating on playing Bruno Fernandes in their game against Benfica on Sunday, the Portuguese Super Cup. So he actually could be playing in that game, but obviously that will be his farewell appearance. So he will play in that game, of course, before his transfer to Manchester United is currently completed. So from Sporting Lisbon's point of view, they're saying that no agreement has been reached yet, between Man United and Man United and Bruno Fernandes and all that. Even though reports did emerge out over the weekend and that saying that we'd reached a transfer agreement. With Sporting Lisbon, it also said a fee of around 62 or 63 million pounds had been agreed, and it did say over the course of the weekend that Bruno Fernandes was set to fly to the UK for his Manchester United medical ahead of his proposed move to Old Trafford. We do know that for the entirety of the summer that Bruno Fernandes has been linked to a move to Manchester United. Obviously, we're looking to bring a couple of new additions in that midfield. Regardless of what happens with Paul Pogba. Well, initially it was in our plans, to keep Paul Pogba and bring two new midfielders in, that could replace Ander Herrera and Mario Fellaini, because we do know Ander Herrera and Mario Fellaini have both left the football club. And I think maybe Milinkovic-Savic to Manchester United is definitely dependent on what happens with Paul Pogba. But Bruno Fernandes to Manchester United is looking a lot more probable than Milinkovic-Savic to Manchester United. I'm actually quite sceptical now of Milinkovic-Savic coming to Manchester United. Even though recent reports indicated out saying that the Lazio boss, the Lazio president did confirm that Lazio will consider offers and that for Milinkovic-Savic, and even Lazio boss himself currently said this. So basically Lazio are open to selling him. I think Lazio did say they want around 81 million pounds, but maybe Milinkovic-Savic may not now come to Manchester United. I do believe we need two new additions in that midfield, and I think I would be excited about the prospect of putting Milinkovic-Savic alongside Paul Pogba in our midfield, because I think they're blending very, very well together and all that, and I think they complement each other. But I think Bruno Fernandes is a lot more likely, and actually my first choice preference would be Bruno Fernandes ahead of Milinkovic-Savic. But I still believe we're going to get this deal over the line for Bruno Fernandes anywhere. Obviously we have seen glimpses of how good he is again, because he has done pretty well in pre-season for Sporting Lisbon. He got on a goal and got an assist in Sporting Lisbon's 2-2 draw against Liverpool. Obviously, as you all know, in Sporting Lisbon's last game, against Valencia, Bruno Fernandes had come off crying in that game. So obviously, that indicated out that he's on his way out of Sporting Lisbon. And initially, we thought that was his farewell appearance, but due to his emotional reaction, it obviously put Manchester United fans into a current meltdown. But I still believe we're going to get this deal over the line for him. I do believe for the larger portions the summer, Sporting Lisbon's valuation has seen to the stumbling block of Bruno Fernandes making his proposed move to Manchester United, because obviously Sporting Lisbon do value him at around £70 million. Obviously at one point Manchester United were only willing to pay around £50 million for Bruno Fernandes, but obviously this is too insufficient for Sporting Lisbon. But we do know he has been one of our priority targets, and I think Sporting Lisbon for quite some time now have come to accept the fact that Bruno Fernandes does want to currently leave, because obviously he wants to rejuvenate his career and take his footballing career to the next level, because obviously Bruno Fernandes is not going to want to intend on spending the rest of his career with Sporting Lisbon, or he's not going to want to spend a number of years with Sporting Lisbon, because obviously a player of his calibre and level, does want to, rejuvenate his career and all that. And I think him coming to the Premier League, it's going to, obviously take his footballing career to the next level. I think he's got all the attributes to come and succeed in the Premier League with Manchester United. Obviously, initially confirmed the other week that initially the board weren't backing Ole Gunnar Solskjaer for this particular sign, because it did say the board had concerns about, as spending, quite a bit of money on a player that knows little about Champions League football. He has played in Champions League, but he knows little about it. Also he hasn't really got the experience of playing to the highest level. But I do believe, he can produce the same element of performances, of what he's proven in his 2 years of Sporting Lisbon, of course, when he does come to the Premier League and all that. But he is only 24 years of age, is Bruno Fernandes. He's primarily an attacking midfielder. I think Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is orchestrating on, putting Bruno Fernandes in that number 10, because maybe Ole Gunnar Solskjaer believes that's where Bruno Fernandes, will be more effective. That number 10 role, of course, is just behind the centre forward. But like I said, he will dramatically improve his in that midfield. Like I said, he scored 31 or was it 32 goals for Sporting Lisbon last season in all competitions. So that's very, very impressive. So his goal scoring pedigree is absolutely fantastic. Obviously spent the majority of his career in Italy, when he was younger. Obviously had good spells with Sampdoria and underneath. So he did very, very well in Italy when he was younger. Obviously we do know Bruno Fernandes' agent. Obviously has been to the UK quite a few times, because obviously he's held quite a few negotiations with Manchester United. Obviously he's looking for the best possible deal for this client. I do believe his agent has also held talks with Tottenham and Liverpool, because obviously in the past Tottenham and Liverpool have been credited with an interest in Bruno Fernandes. But actually, Sporting's Lisbon's boss, he's had his overarching view of the speculation about Bruno Fernandes, and basically, he said that Bruno Fernandes could leave. He did initially say that his future is still up in the air, and he also said it's going to be hard for Sporting Lisbon to find an adequate replacement. But he is aware throughout the course of the summer that clubs have been keen on signing Bruno Fernandes. Mainly Manchester United, because obviously we've been considered the favourites now to sign him for quite some time. But actually, there were journalists coming out the other week saying that was actually never in for Bruno Fernandes, but that's not true. We've been in for Bruno Fernandes all summer, and I've always thought there's a lot of credibility in Bruno Fernandes coming out to Manchester United, especially now recently DiMarzio's reported on it. I think there's even more credibility in it now, and when it does come to more reliable sources, then we do know Bruno Fernandes is on his way to Manchester United. But I still think anyway, we are going to get this deal completed. But actually Sky Sports reported out the other week, they basically said it was unlikely that Bruno Fernandes was going to join Manchester United, because obviously there was a lot of rumours going on about Milinkovic-Savic. Plus it said we believe that the majority of the speculation about Bruno Fernandes, was actually stemming from Portugal, his homeland, rather than Manchester. But like I said, he has, been one of our priority targets. Federico Fernandes, who's the president of Sporting Lisbon, obviously, he's aware. He's aware of the speculation. He basically come out the other week and he revealed that, he revealed what type of fee Manchester United, would have to pay, to convince Sporting Lisbon to offload Bruno Fernandes. And I do believe we have to pay upwards of £56 million, because the president came out the other week saying that £56 million maybe not even enough to convince Sporting Lisbon to offload him. He said we was initially orchestrating on putting a bid in around 49 or £50 million for the player. But he initially said a while back that the personal terms have been agreed, the contracts have been agreed, and he initially said we was going to give him around 100 grand a week, which equates to around 5.5 million pounds a year. But Bruno Fernandes anyway has recently informed his teammates that he is expected to leave Sporting Lisbon and that this summer. But I think he's set to make his farewell appearance on Sunday against Benfica in the Portuguese Super Cup. He's set to captain Sporting Lisbon before, of course, he completes his transfer to Manchester United. So looking likely probably anyway, Bruno Fernandes is going to be our fourth signing this summer, because I think Harry Maguire is going to be our third signing this summer. So I do hope we can get two transfers completed this week. Obviously we've spent £68 million on Daniel James and Wan-Bissaka so far. We've seen glimpses of what good signings they've proven to be so far, because they have both done really, really well in pre-season. With Daniel James, there's still improvements needed in his game. Like I said, he's still a prospect and he needs time to develop, but he's got electrifying pace, and I think Daniel James is crossing in that needs to improve, but he will improve as he's developing and all that. And we got him for a reasonable figure. I think we also got Wan-Bissaka for a reasonable figure, compared to what we paid for the likes of Lukaku and Pogba in recent years, because you know, we have spent big on players in recent years, and you know, we have spent, you know, big in the last 5 or 6 years, you know, since Alex Ferguson retired, because obviously, you know, we've had different managers with different philosophies. A hell of a lot of money's been invested into the football club. You know, players have come in, and of course players have gone and all that. But you know, with Daniel James, he's had a fantastic start to his Manchester United career, and Wan-Bissaka, you know, he's had a fantastic start to his Manchester United career, and they're still both very, very young. And I do believe both players have got all the ingredients required, you know, to become huge successes at Manchester United. But Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's priorities now obviously is to recommend an experienced centre half in, and he'll also want to add reinforcements in that midfield, and I think we're also in search for a right winner and all that. So basically, there's still quite a bit bits to address in the squad. Obviously, on that left hand side, I think we're okay, because if you looked at it last season, the majority of our attack was coming from that left hand side. You know, we've got Luke Shaw, who's very reliable. You know, Luke Shaw won the double Player of the Year last season. Don't forget, double Player of the Year, reflecting on his impressive performances. You know, we've got Daniel James now that plays on our left hand side. Well, Daniel James, he's supposed to be more effective on that left hand side. We have started him on the right quite a few times, but he's supposed to be more effective from the left. You know, you've obviously got Martial as well that can play on that left, but actually, you know, Martial seems to be more effective in a central position, you know, as we have been seeing throughout these pre-season games. And I think now, you know, I think now the club, you know, could actually, you know, orchestrate on, you know, playing Martial more centrally in the Premier League this season, because he does seem to be more effective in that position. Don't forget, you can play Rashford out wide as well, but again, you know, Rashford, he seems to be more effective in a central position, does Rashford, which is you know, very, very good, because obviously, you know, Martial and Rashford's performances in the last couple of months of last season, you know, were very, very poor in that. You know, they haven't got quite to that level as yet, but I think they are going to get better. You know, they have both started pre-season really, really well with Martial and Rashford, and they are still both very, very young. So, like I said, I think we are okay on that left-hand side, but I can already see the vast improvements in Manchester United already. I can already see the vast improvements, and I've been analysing it throughout these pre-season games. You know, we look much better in the attacking third of the pitch. You know, we actually are now creating a lot of chances, as you know, you've seen. You know, we're scoring goals. You know, we've got a lot more pace now up front, and that's something we was lacking last season. We didn't have enough pace. This is why last season, you know, wasn't scoring enough goals, and this is why I wasn't ruthless enough in front of a goal. But you've got Daniel James with good pace, you've got Martial with good pace, you've got Rashford and that with good pace. Now we've got Mason Greenwood, that's upcoming. You know, he's going to get promoted into the first team this season. You know, you've got Chonga and that's upcoming. So we do look better now in that attacking third of the pitch. But I still believe that we need to add more experience in our current attacking line. So still lots needs to be addressed in the squad. You know, don't currently get me wrong. Ed Woodward, you know, did initially, you know, remain in the UK. Obviously, you know, to oversee our transfer business, because obviously Ed Woodward is working on, you know, getting some, you know, some deals and that of the line. But you know, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer overall did give his analysis on this window, and you know, he hasn't become infuriated. I'll credit him for that. You know, he's basically said, you know, we need to be patient. You know, we have got 2 good players on the board so far this summer. So he's given his analysis basically on Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, and he did say, you know, basically I needed to be patient. The board did initially assure that they was going to back Ole Gunnar Solskjaer this summer. You know, obviously Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has got to get all the players there that he does want, because if you don't get all the players that he wants, you can say the board have let him down. You can say the board have let him down. You can basically, you know, we will criticise the board and all that, and we will criticise Ed Woodward if Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, you know, doesn't, you know, get all the players wants. Initially, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's preference was actually, you know, to get all our transfer business completed by the time we did go on pre-season, but obviously, you know, that didn't currently materialise. And Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is aware that we need to get a couple of more players in. Obviously, I think we'll have a better season this season than what we saw last season, because last season was a huge disappointment. You know, we finished 6th. Obviously, you know, we didn't win many silverware. Obviously, you know, we failed to qualify for the Champions League, but this season will be a better season. I think we'll qualify for the Champions League in this season. I think our expectations this season probably will be to finish in that top 4. I think this season we'll finish in the top 4, maybe in the top 3. I don't think we'll win the league. If we do bring Dybala in, I still say we won't win the league. So I'm very, very sceptical about Manchester United winning the league. I don't think we'll win the league at least for the next couple of years. So I didn't actually say our aspirations will be that top 4 in the next couple of seasons. You know, some people say we do need to sell players. Obviously, we do need to sell players because there's some problematic players at the football club. Some people say we need to sell players anyway, you know, to help us generate funds and obviously, you know, rebuild the squad and that even more. You know, Solskjaer is aware of the speculation that there's been, you know, going on throughout the course of the summer, because there has been speculation about players coming in and of course players going out. But you know, quite a few people have said, you know, we should be sensible with our recruitment this summer, and Solskjaer did confirm that we're not intending on overspending on our transfer targets. But anyway, you know, with Bruno Fernandes, it's looking like he's still going to be coming in, even though Sporting has been denied this speculation that we've made an opening bid and all that, and they've denied that, you know, Man United have reached an agreement with them for Bruno Fernandes. But I think he'll be our 4th signing. I think Harry Maguire is going to be our 3rd signing this summer. Obviously, we're set to get Harry Maguire for around £80 million. Obviously, that's a world record fee for a defender. So it will take our spending up to around £148 million and all that. And yeah, so hopefully we can get the deal over the line for Harry Maguire sometime this week. But like I said, I've been impressed with in pre-season. We've won 5 games out of 5, 10 goals scored, only 1 goal conceded. And I think the majority of the young players have done, really, really well. But, more or less, everybody's been given a chance in pre-season. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer did say he would anyway give everybody the chance. And, I've more or less everyone will get the chances in the Premier League this season. He's given the fringe players chances, young players chances, experienced players chances, which is very, very good indeed. But I've analysing it, I've been impressed with the majority of the squad. I think the only disappointing player really has been Nemanja Matic. He's been really, really inconsistent in pre-season. I do have strong concerns about him. He's too slow. He totally looks imbalanced in our midfield, and he makes that midfield look totally imbalanced. He's obviously aging up. He's not getting any younger. I think it's Matic's birthday soon, so he's really been the player I have been disappointed with. But I think everyone else more or less has put a decent shift in. I said Saka and Daniel James have done well. Greenwood's done well. Pogba's done absolutely fantastic. He's had a great start as well to pre-season. McTominay's done well. Pereira's done well. I also think Fred's done well in the last 3 games. He has come on as substitute. I think Diego Dalot and that's done really, really well. So I've been impressed with the majority of the squad. But 5 wins out of 5 in pre-season. Like I said, pre-season's meaningless anywhere. There's only 1 game now remaining of pre-season. That is AC Milan on the 3rd of August. Obviously, I think that's venued in Cardiff and all that, and then obviously, it's the new Premier League season, and obviously, we go up against Chelsea on the first game. Obviously, that's going to be a tough encounter, but obviously, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is going to get a glimpse of an idea, what team to go with against Chelsea. I've got a slight idea, or should I say, an idea of what Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is going to go with in the game against Chelsea. I think the back 4 is going to go. He's obviously going to go with Wan-Bissaka at right back. He's going to go with Luke Shaw at left back. He'll probably go with I think he'll go with Lindelof and Jones at that centre-back area, or he may go with Smalling and Lindelof. It'll be one of them anywhere. Looking at that front 4 yesterday, that played against Christian Son, they looked really, really good as well. I thought they showed fantastic fluid, didn't they? They were causing problems for Christian Son. You had Lingard that was, he was showing good pace. You saw Daniel James doing well, Rashford doing well, Martial doing well. So that's actually the front 4 Solskjaer, could go with in the game against Chelsea. So more or less I have an idea what team, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, is going to go with. Obviously, there was literally quite a few players that haven't, made an appearance on pre-season tour. Obviously, Lukaku, obviously, hasn't made an appearance on pre-season tour. Obviously, wasn't even part of the Norway squad, in the game against Christian Son. So obviously, he didn't even travel. Lukaku, obviously, Darmian hasn't made an appearance because obviously he's surfaced to requirements at Manchester United. Sanchez has not yet made an appearance. I do believe actually, Alexis Sanchez has been injured. With Fosamento, I do believe, has he been injured, Fosamento, if I'm right? I think he has. Obviously, he was on loan, I think, with Fulham last season. He was on loan with Fulham last season. I think Dimitri Mitchell, I think he's actually been injured as well. So there's quite a few players that haven't made an appearance. Lee Grant, I don't think he has as yet. He's actually been injured as Lee Grant. Even though he did travel to Norway, did Lee Grant, but obviously he hasn't made an appearance as yet because, like I said, he's been injured. But like I said, been very, very impressed in pre-season. So, like I said, a lot of people, would like Paul Dybala, to come to Manchester United, and I'm one of those people, that would love Dybala coming to Manchester United, because I would be excited about the prospect, of Dybala, coming in to Manchester United, because I do believe, he will dramatically improve us. He won't be assured, to win us the league and all that, but I think, he would be fantastic, because I would be excited about, Dybala coming in, playing alongside the likes of Rashford, Martial, Daniel James, and blending in our attacking line, and I think he will blend in our attacking line fantastically well. Now, the battle to Manchester United is definitely on, because as I updated you on my previous video, it confirmed yesterday, Sky in Italy did confirm that Manchester United and Juventus have agreed a swap deal in principle involving Paulo Dybala and Romelu Lukaku and all that, and this actually came from Sky in Italy yesterday. I do believe the deal hinges on Dybala agreeing the terms with Manchester United. I do believe that Paulo Dybala wants wants to meet up with Maurizio Sarri after he returns from his holidays, which I think is on Thursday. He obviously wants to meet with Maurizio Sarri before he currently makes a decision on his current future. I do believe Paul Dybala's actual preference is to remain in Turin because I think he's keen on staying with them. But obviously Paul Dybala, will be aware of the speculation. Obviously we do know Paul Dybala's agent, I think, arrived in London yesterday. Obviously, he's in negotiations with Manchester United because obviously we do know that Paul Dybala's agent is looking to thrash out a deal for his current client. Now, potentially, I think he's already held negotiations with Maurizio Sarri as Paulo Dybala, and like I said, his preference is actually not to stay at Juventus. But I think Juventus have confirmed they do want to offload Paulo Dybala and all that. So I do believe also Tottenham have been in there for Paul Dybala, as you are all aware. Tottenham have definitely been in there for him. Obviously, Tottenham have had quite a few negotiations with Juventus over an audacious move. Tottenham, would have to smash their transfer record anywhere, to get Paulo Dybala, because Tottenham have already smashed their transfer record on Tanguy Ndombele, who they paid nearly £60 million. So I think Juventus do value Dybala around 80 or is it £90 million. So Tottenham would have to pay a substantial amount, to get him on the board. But actually, reports were reflected out the other week, and they basically said that Paul Dybala had changed his transfer stance, and he was actually considering leaving Juventus, and it didn't actually say he had said yes to a transfer away from Juventus. But obviously, there's been a change of scenery now because his actual preference is to remain in Turin. But I think Juventus want to get this deal over the line because obviously, they want Lukaku, of course. That they do obviously want to get this current deal over the line. But for me, my overarching view on this story is I think Paul Dybala coming to Manchester United as part of a deal of Lukaku going to Juventus, I think would be beneficial for Manchester United because obviously looking at Lukaku serves his two requirements now at the football club, and you've also got Paul Dybala that's lost his place in the Juventus side. He lost his place he lost his place last season in the Juventus side to Cristiano Ronaldo. But in large portions of Paul Dybala's 4 years with Juventus, I think he's done really, really well. He's exceeded expectation levels. He has scored a bag full of goals. I think he scored like 78 goals in 182 appearances for Juventus as Paulo Dybala in all competitions, that is. He's still under contract with Juventus till 2022. I do believe Dybala is on around £120,000 a week. Obviously, he's won, I think he's been named in the Serie A Team of the Year on 3 occasions as Dybala, reflecting on his impressive performance, and he's won 4 Serie A's and 3 Coppa Italians during his 4-year spell in Turin. I think Juventus did pay around €40 million, I think, for him from Parma back in 2015. But Dybala, has been relentlessly into a move to Manchester United because obviously, we have been in for him for quite some time. I think he's a really good player. He's 25 years of age. He's still got a hell of a lot of development in him. Can play as a forward, can also play him as an attacking midfielder. And looking at, he would dramatically improve Manchester United. He's technically a good footballer. I think he's a much better player than Romelu Lukaku. But there again, I'll credit Lukaku. Lukaku's goal scoring pedigree is good in the Premier League, and Dybala's goal scoring pedigree is good in Italy. He didn't really do well last season, like I said, did Dybala, because obviously, he lost his place in the team because of Ronaldo. Since Ronaldo's arrival, Dybala found game time very, very difficult. I think he only scored around 10 goals for Juventus last season. But looking at, when he's playing to his potential best, Dybala, he's actually, a world-class player. He hasn't played in the Premier League as yet, but I do believe Dybala would have all the attributes, to definitely come and succeed in the Premier League. And I do believe he would exceed expectation levels with Manchester United. But I think it would be absolutely fantastic for us. Do I think it's going to happen? It may not happen, This may be just the media speculating, because sometimes the media is not always reliable. Sometimes they justify their existence on certain stories. Like I said, there may be some credibility in it. It's not going to be assured that Dybala is going to come to Manchester United. He could even end up staying with Juventus. He could even make the move to Tottenham, for all we know. But Juventus have basically said, they have agreed, they've agreed that they will let, Paul Dybala leave Juventus and all that, because Juventus have done good business this summer. They spent an extortionate amount on Ronaldo last summer, and obviously Juventus may want to offload a couple of their players, to help them generate funds. But I think they've done good business this summer, Juventus. They spent quite a bit of money on De Ligt. De Ligt's a good signing for them, to be fair. And I initially was aware that Juventus had a budget. They also got Adrian Rabiot. They got Aaron Ramsey. So they have done a pretty good business in that this summer with Juventus. I think recently there was actually in for Mario Icardi reportedly. But yeah, so I think Dybala coming to Manchester United, would be very, very beneficial for us indeed. And I think me talking on Lukaku's behalf, I think, if I was Lukaku and I was to choose between Inter Milan and Juventus, my preference, would actually, be Juventus, because I think, Juventus would be able to guarantee, Romelu Lukaku success. Probably Inter Milan, wouldn't be able to guarantee him success. We do know it's been mainly Inter Milan that have been in for him, for the last week or so, or maybe just a bit longer. Juventus have come into the equation, but Lukaku was talking about, a while back about, a move to Juventus, because obviously he was excited about the prospect of linking up with Cristiano Ronaldo, and that in the Juventus side, Romelu Lukaku. But like I said, Romelu Lukaku, hasn't played in pre-season because obviously Ole Gunnar Solskjaer didn't actually say that. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer said that Lukaku obviously was injured allegedly. He had some kind of ankle problem, but he has not yet made an appearance on pre-season. So like I said, he wasn't even part of the squad. For the Christian Sunday game. So obviously that's going to fuel more speculation in regards to Lukaku's long-term future. Obviously, recent reports said early on this week that we've set Romelu Lukaku a transfer deadline. We set him a transfer deadline, and reportedly we've given him till this Thursday to engineer a move away from the football club. So Lukaku could be on his way out this week. I still believe that Inter Milan are in there for him. Obviously, Antonio Conte has identified him as his number one target. Antonio Conte has been a long admirer of the player, because reflecting back a couple of years ago when Antonio Conte was the manager of Chelsea, obviously at that point Antonio Conte wanted Romelu Lukaku, but he turned down Chelsea to Lukaku and he ended up coming to Manchester United. But Lukaku did describe Antonio Conte as one of the best managers in the world. As you all know, we've said we want 75 or 80 million pounds for him, so basically we're looking to recoup the money that we did pay for Lukaku a couple of years ago from Everton, or maybe even orchestrating on gaining a little bit of a profit. But I think for Inter Milan, our valuation has seems to be the stumbling block, of Lukaku making his proposed move to Inter Milan. Inter Milan have been struggling to meet our valuation. Obviously, Inter Milan are under financial fair play restrictions, as far as I'm aware. Inter Milan have been trying to offload a couple of their players, to help them generate funds, to meet that 75 or 80 million pound valuation. But Inter Milan, of course, have failed to do this. I think Inter Milan have obviously had two bids turned down. I think they had a 54 million pound bid turned down the other week. I think they also inquired about getting him on a 2-year loan with the obligation to buy, but again, Manchester United had turned this down because we're only willing to let Lukaku go on a permanent deal. But I still believe Inter Milan are in talks with Manchester United, just like Juventus are in talks with Manchester United. Obviously, the Inter Milan director travelled to London a couple of weeks ago to obviously hold more negotiations over that with Manchester United. Federico Pastorella, Lukaku's agent, obviously, Lukaku's spoken to him. Also, his agent was in Milan, I think, last week. He's obviously, been quite a few negotiations with Inter Milan, because obviously, his agent did say that Inter Milan are desperate and that to currently sign him. So this is what Federico Pastorella currently said. But our valuation, like I said, is seems to be the current stumbling block. And so initially said, reports indicated out over a month ago now, saying that, Lukaku had agreed the personal terms with Inter Milan. It also said he had agreed, a contract worth around 180 grand a week, but obviously, no fee has obviously, come to an agreement. Reports emerged out earlier on this week, obviously, when we did initially return from China, the Man United squad will initially return from China to Manchester, Lukaku boarded a flight to Belgium to obviously, go meet with his agent to discuss a potential move and that to Inter Milan. But for the entirety of the summer, he's been speaking about his proposed move from that to Inter Milan, and he's been relentlessly into a move to Inter Milan. But Lukaku's confirmed he wants to leave the football club. He's obviously notified Ole Gunnar Solskjaer about this, because Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has spoken to him. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, did say he wants him to stay at the club for one more season, even though he is surplus to requirements now at Manchester United. As you all know, he's still got 3 years left on his contract, and I think we overpaid for Lukaku. We did pay 75 million for him. There was add-ons including a deal of 15 million, so it did potentially rise to around 90 million pounds. But Lukaku serves two requirements at the club. Solskjaer's first choice preference is Marcus Rashford. You've got Martial in that attack line. You've got Daniel James. You've also got Greenwood and Chon that are upcoming. They're obviously going to get their chances this season. So Lukaku's going to find it very hard to get in the mix. So I think it'll be beneficial if we can sell him, and I think it'll also be beneficial for the player himself. Obviously, he's been at the club 2 years, and I thought Lukaku was exceptional in his first season. Didn't really replicate that form in his second season with the football club, and he scored 42 goals in 96 games for the club in all competitions since his arrival in 2017. Lukaku's 26 years of age, so he's just a bit older than Dybala. So Dybala, Lukaku himself, still got a lot of years ahead of him. But I think definitely we need to currently offload him. We've identified quite a few players who could replace Lukaku at the football club. There's been talks of Moussa Dembele from Lyon. Obviously there was talks the other week about Aubameyang. Nicolas Pepe is out of the equation because I do believe now he's joining Arsenal. But there's been quite a few players mentioned who could replace. But I think Paul Dybala would be a good adequate replacement for him. Indeed. But like I said, I think we need to sell players. I think we need to get rid of Diamond and Rojo, because they've both enjoyed their difficult times at the football club. With Diamond and Rojo, Diamond, he hasn't really been given a chance. And, with Rojo, his Manchester United career has been mainly affected with the amount of injuries he has sustained. So yeah, I think we need to definitely get rid of them too. Talking about Milinkovic-Savic, like I said to you guys, I think I'm sceptical about him now coming to Manchester United. I don't think it's going to happen. Maybe there is some credibility in it. Like I said, the Lazio boss came out and said, Lazio are considering offers for Milinkovic-Savic. Initially, they are open to selling him. If a suitable offer, does currently come in for him. Obviously, a lot of reports were talking about this last week, saying that Milinkovic-Savic had told his Lazio teammates that he does want to leave Lazio this summer, and reportedly, his agent has been in the UK, Milinkovic-Savic, to hold, negotiations with Manchester United, to thrash out a deal for his client to join Manchester United and all that. But I don't think there's a lot of credibility now in Milinkovic-Savic coming to Manchester United. Obviously, his move to Manchester United anyway is dependent on, what happens with Paul Pogba. We have been in for Milinkovic-Savic, since last summer, so we've been linked for him for the past year. We was in for him under the Jose Mourinho era, but I do believe last summer, Lazio said they wanted around over £100 million. So obviously initially, we didn't get him last summer. We have been, linked to him since last summer. No fee. I do believe no fee anyway has come to an agreement between Manchester United and Lazio. It did initially say that the personal terms had been agreed, and we was orchestrating on paying around 5.4 million a year. Lazio have said they want around £81 million. Man United were willing to offer around £72 million for his services, but he did initially say that we progressed in negotiations with Lazio. Milinkovic-Savic is a good player, technically a good footballer, primarily central midfielder, so mainly box-to-box, can also play as an attacking midfielder, can Milinkovic-Savic, can also play as an attacking midfielder, only 24 years of age, he's a Serbian international. I think in the large portions of his 4 years with Lazio, he's done pretty well. He scored 31 goals in 138 games in all competitions. Obviously, Lazio... I think got him from Genk, was it, back in 2015, because I think he only had one season with Genk. But with Lazio, he's under contract until 2023. I do believe he signed this new deal last October and all that. Do you think he would be the right type of a player for Manchester United, Milinkovic-Savic? But we have been in for him for quite some time, but I don't think he's coming to Manchester United. Bruno Fernandes looks a hell of a lot more probable than Milinkovic-Savic, but I said Milinkovic-Savic to Manchester United anywhere is dependent on what happens with Paul Pogba. But initially said the personal terms of that had been agreed, and it said, we progressed in negotiations with Milinkovic-Savic's agent. Actually, reports said last week, but they got proven to be a load of nonsense. It was coming from La Repubblica, an Italian outlet, and they said Man United had agreed a fee with Lazio for Milinkovic-Savic. It all said we'd agreed a contract, and it says we were set to give him a 5-year contract at Old Trafford, and it said around the £67 million fee had been agreed, but obviously that got proven to be a load of nonsense. But reportedly, Lazio are open to selling the player. The Lazio boss knows how much of an imperative player he is, and he'd love him, to stay at Lazio, but he says if the right offer comes in, Lazio, would consider offloading the player. But I don't think Milinkovic-Savic, will come to Manchester United and all that. So he's been actually another midfielder that Manchester United have currently been in for. Obviously, with Eric Bailly, obviously, he didn't play against Christian Sund. Obviously, he's got a serious knee injury, that he's sustained against Tottenham. So actually, Eric Bailly, it is a huge doubt, going on into this season. And I think Eric Bailly's Manchester United career anyway, has been mainly affected, the amount of injuries he's sustained. Obviously, not only with his injuries, obviously, his fallout under manager, but we still do know deep down how much of an imperative player that Eric Bailly is, because he has got great potential. He does hold his line really well. We paid £30 million for him from Villarreal back in 2016, and obviously he's been at Manchester United now over 3 years as Eric Bailly, and but I think his career's been affected, the amount of injuries sustained, so I think it's had a really bad effect on his current Manchester United career. But yeah, and I think, we want to get this deal over the line for Harry Maguire, because obviously, we are in search for a central defender. And I think since Eric Bailly sustained this knee injury, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, has instructed Ed Woodward, to get the transfer completed for Harry Maguire. Obviously, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has identified Harry Maguire as his number one defensive target, and he wants to partner up Harry Maguire alongside Victor Lindelof in our back line, because I think they'll complement each other really well. They'll look a good partnership, and I think Victor Lindelof himself is excited about the prospects of Harry Maguire, playing alongside him now in our back line. Obviously, DiMarzio broke out the news, earlier on this week, just like he broke out the news about Bruno Fernandes. He said, Man United deal for Harry Maguire is in the closing stages. Reportedly, we're set to get him for £80 million, a world record fee for a defender, so the fee is obviously going to exceed the fee of what Liverpool paid for Virgil van Dijk, because Liverpool paid £75 million for Virgil van Dijk. But yeah, we are set to get him for around £80 million. Obviously, it added more fuel. It fueled more speculation about Harry Maguire. When he did skip Leicester training a couple of days ago. Obviously, I do believe he returned to Leicester training yesterday and all that. I think Harry Maguire's actually become he's actually lost his patience with Leicester. He's lost his patience with Leicester. Obviously, with Leicester's reluctance to sell him to Manchester United, because obviously he does want to leave Leicester, to obviously rejuvenate his career and take his footballing career to the next level. And he does want to come to Manchester United, and obviously, he does want to relish this opportunity. And I think it's looking very likely that Harry Maguire is going to be our third signing this summer. But we've heard on two occasions, the stories have proven to be sceptical, because on the two previous occasions, they've said that Man United agreed a world record fee of £80 million with Leicester for Harry Maguire. It came out the other week from Bleacher Report saying Man United had agreed a world record fee, for Harry Maguire. Also said a couple of weeks ago, Duncan Castles, he came out and he said that Manchester United agreed an £80 million fee with Leicester for Harry Maguire. Obviously, them two stories got proven to be cynical and all that. So basically, on that aspect, that was just the media, justifying their current existence. So no figures yet being agreed, but I think a fee is closer to being agreed and all that. Obviously, I think the last game Harry Maguire played for Leicester was obviously in their pre-season game against Stoke on Saturday. But I think, that actually, could be his farewell appearance. But I do believe now, we've been the favourites for about the last week or so now, to get Harry Maguire on the board. We do know it has been Man United and Manchester City that have been battling out for his services. Obviously, don't forget, it was looking likely at one point Manchester City were going to get a deal over the line. Obviously, City have been seeing him as a replacement for Vincent Kompany and all that. And City would orchestrate on paying him around £280,000 a week. But actually, Harry Maguire's initial preference, was actually to make the move to Manchester City, because that was his preference over Manchester United. But City are not willing to pay what Leicester are demanding. Obviously, Leicester said they want a higher transfer fee up front. Obviously, because they're sceptical that we won't qualify for the Champions League this season, so they want a higher transfer fee up front. Reportedly, we've offered £72 million so far, according to recent reports, with additional bonus payments due based on trophies and us finishing in the top four and all that. Because we failed to qualify for the Champions League 3 times out of the 6 seasons, since Alex Ferguson's retirement. But Leicester want a higher transfer fee up front. Leicester are under no financial fair pressure to sell Harry Maguire, don't forget, because they do know how much imperative player he is. Brendan Rodgers has had his overarching view, about the speculation about Harry Maguire, and he basically said that he has, I think, been too big to turn down for him, and I think he also insisted that there is no cut-off date in which Leicester would no longer consider selling Harry Maguire. But there's only just under a week and a half remaining now in this window, so we have got to hurry up about the business. But Harry Maguire will dramatically improve in our backline, well Premier League proven, which is very beneficial for Manchester United. Only 26 years of age, still got a lot of years ahead of him. Obviously only signed a 5-year deal with Leicester last summer, so he's under contract with them until 2023. But yeah, I think he'll be the right type of player for Manchester United. I think if we're bringing him in, we may consider offloading a central defender, because analysing, we have got quite a few central defenders. We've got Lindelof, we've got Bay, we've got Rojo, we've got Smalling, we've got Jones, we've got Alex Tuanzebe, so we've got around 5 or 6 central defenders. But looking at Harry Maguire, he's the best option at the moment. With Victor Lindelof, I think he's flourishing at Manchester United. He's done well in pre-season. He also did well in his second season there with the club. There was vast improvements in his second season. Lindelof didn't really settle in his first season, lacked consistency, didn't really settle in, but in his second season he was really good, and I think he's going to get better and better, players, Victor Lindelof and Harry Maguire alongside him, just would be absolutely fantastic. And, we've had issues defensively for quite some time, and I don't think we've had a world-class central defender since we had the likes of Vidic and Ferdinand. But like I said, we've already had a £70 million bid, don't forget, turned down for Harry Maguire. Like I said, we was in for him last summer, because our priority last summer was to recommend a central defender to come in, but we didn't get our number one targets last summer under the Jose Mourinho era. But Solskjaer, anyway, was recently talking about our recruitment policy and, analysing the last couple of windows, we haven't been competitive enough. We didn't get anyone in January. We didn't get our number one targets last summer. But like I said, guys, these are still lots to address in the squad. So anyway, guys, drop your comments, likes below on the channel. If you do consider subscribing, as always, and take care. God bless, and I'll see you all again very, very soon.